are the world. Yay! We are the world. Eric Butterworth, Reverend Eric Butterworth, was one of our most respected, most revered, most loved unity minister. Eric Butterworth was born in Winnipeg, Canada, and it was September 12, 1916. In the Unity movement, Eric Butterworth is very widely known. He wrote 14 books and hundreds of articles. He started out as the minister in Detroit and helped to raise enough money to build a Unity Temple in Detroit. Have any of you ever been to Unity Temple in Detroit? It's absolutely stunning. And raised the attendance to about 2,000 members. In the time that he was at his peak, he had a radio show. Eric Butterworth Speaks was the name of it. And as things would happen, Eric Butterworth's mother was actually a Unity minister as well. I've heard people say that in the Unity movement, he was the voice of reason. There is a scripture that says, "Come, let us reason together." And Eric Butterworth had a way of taking the scriptures and sacred writings and the mystic things of life and bringing them into a way that we would be able to align them with our lives today. I wished a lot of times that I would be able to see Eric Butterworth in person, but he passed before I was able to see him. But I started many years ago listening to him. So many years ago, I still have cassette tapes, and I still have a cassette player that I'm babying. Otherwise, I'm going to have to convert all of those or buy those in CD. This is the first of a series that I'm doing on Unity Classics. This will be probably 6 to 8 weeks. I'm moving as Spirit leads because I only got that message this morning that I'm doing a series on Unity Classics. So, more to be revealed. But here's a quotation from Eric Butterworth. "When you know your own divinity, it is not for just a day, but for always. You are the presence of God where you are." Well, that's pretty huge. You are the presence of God where you are. You are how God expresses out into this world. It is my belief and the belief of many that God speaks to us constantly. There is never, never, never a nanosecond that we are not constantly being guided and spoken to by Spirit. We may not always hear it. We may decide to ignore it. We may decide to drown it out. But it's always there. And that was the crux of Eric Butterworth's message the entire time. That was the foundational piece of teaching people, you are connected with God. Always, always. You can never be separated from God. And to know your own divinity. And he spent his life, it says on his website, a website was created for only him by Unity. So if you just Google his name, Eric Butterworth, you'll see an entire website with his recordings, a list of his books, and that sort of thing. He spent his life helping people to help themselves. Isn't that beautiful? What a legacy to leave. Oprah Winfrey says that Discover the Power Within You, which is one of the most famous Eric Butterworth books, was a turning point in her life, and how she came into the knowledge that she and God are one, and that we each are divine beings. Jesus said, "Do you not know that you are God's?" It's God's with a lowercase g. Do you not know that you are God's? Edwene Gaines, my mentor and teacher, says, God's in training, perhaps. God's in kindergarten, perhaps. But God's nevertheless. We are told in our scripture and many sacred writings that we are created in the image and the likeness of God. So what does that say? Cats have kittens, dogs have puppies, people have children. We are created in the image and likeness of our Creator. I love this quotation. As many of you know, I've shared with you before that I collect quotations. I think quotations are wonderful. I love the ones that can say in a few words what may take me paragraphs to convey. Llewellyn Van Lee is a Sufi mystic. He was born in London, but he moved to California, Northern California, and opened a Sufi center. It's called the Golden Sufi. And this is a quotation from him, Llewellyn Van Lee. Oneness is very simple. Everything is included and allowed to live according to its true nature. Oneness in its perfection. We are all together, and in its perfection, we are allowed to live in our true nature. It's my belief that we each come here with, however you might want to say it. You may want to say a soul contract. We come here with a purpose on our life. Some people come here with a huge purpose. Many of those names we know really easily. Martin Luther King, Gandhi, JFK, we know those people. But each one of us, no matter how small you may feel that your job is in the world, and believe me, the jobs in the world that are either great or small are only because people decided to call it that. I honestly do not believe that God said, I'm going to give you a small job and you get a big job. I think we all have equal jobs. We may not stand out in society because society has decided certain jobs are bigger than others. But certain jobs, all jobs in life are important. In my book, I address this and talk about if you think that there are menial jobs that don't matter, and in our scale, in our civilization, think about the trash collector. In our civilization, that may be looked at as a small job. It's unimportant and that sort of thing. Think about what your life would be like if you did not have a trash collector. It would get really important then. I think we each come here with a life's purpose. Finding what that purpose is and being on purpose is part of why we are here. Charles Fillmore. What we are is the result of the evolution of our consciousness, and this consciousness is the result of seed ideas sown in the mind. Conscious evolution. Conscious evolution. It says it all in its name. Think about it. The scripture that says, where there is no vision, the people perish. Conscious evolution. We are the world. It is up to each and every one of us to cultivate a consciousness that creates a world that we want to live in, that we want to pass down to the generations behind us. It is up to each one of us to co-create with each other and with God in conscious evolution a world that we want to leave to the rest of the generations. I've said to you before, and because I'm a preacher, I get to say it over and over. I get to preach. I believe that peace, world peace, is possible in my lifetime. I believe it is possible in my lifetime. If each one of us decide, and look at the scripture that says, without a vision, with no vision, the people perish. Looking at that on the bright side, on the more positive side, which is unity's tendency, with vision the people flourish. With the vision the people flourish. And this is your personal vision for yourself, and this is your vision for your community, your city, your state, your world. What is your vision for yourself? How have you come here to contribute to conscious evolution? How have you come here to contribute to the world? Because I promise you, you're contributing. I am contributing. Every single human being is contributing. It's what we are contributing that makes all the difference in the world. When we bring into our consciousness what is ours to do in this world, not what your neighbor is supposed to be doing, not what your spouse or your partner is supposed to be doing, not what your children, your parents, anyone else. What are you supposed to be doing? I don't want to use that word suppose. What is yours to do in this world? What is yours to do? And we're not all going to be 100%. Of course not. We're human beings. Even when we decide and know what our vision for ourselves is and what our vision for our world is, we will deviate from that from time to time. We maybe hold peace in our hearts and our minds most of the time. And then there's that time that comes when we're tired and hungry and on our last nerve and somebody gets on it. We're human beings. When that happens, we allow ourselves to be a human being. We clean up whatever mess we may have made. And I love this phrase out of the Bible: shake the dust from our feet and move on. Shake the dust from our feet and move on. As a person thinks, so is that person. The King James Version. As a man thinketh, so is he. More modern. As a person thinks, so is that person. It all starts here. And actually, in reality, science now knows it all starts here. Because now we know that every cell of our body is a thinking cell. Every cell of our body has a mind. I still, even knowing that information and have known it for a long time, I still think of thinking as going on up here. But that's okay. As we think, so are we. As I think, so am I. It all starts here. Whatever behavior I express out in the world starts with a vision in my mind. Where there is vision, the people flourish. It starts in everyone's mind. You probably heard the phrase and maybe even said the phrase from time to time. well, you know, that I did that, I said that, or whatever, but that's not really me. It's a good catchphrase, but it's not true, because everything that comes out of us is us to some degree. And there's controversy around this, and I tend to think that at least to a degree it's true. And I love what, I think I heard it first on Oprah, or maybe from the kids department. Same thing. It's all wisdom. If you spot it, you got it. Whatever we look to another person, group, or situation, if we see something in that situation that we don't like, if we see something that we do like, it's because we have it. If you notice kindness in a person, and you say to that person, you know, that act was very kind, that was very compassionate of you. It's because you have that kindness and compassion within you already, or you wouldn't be able to see it and connect with it. As a person thinks, so is that person. Okay, here comes the teacher in me. Here's your assignment. Spend time communicating with the God of your understanding. And whatever time you spend at this point, spend a little more. If you think about it, a relationship with another human being takes time, it takes energy, it takes effort. It shouldn't take struggle, but effort. Some effort on our part. Our relationship with God is no different. It takes time of praying, speaking, whatever, writing, however we do that. Letting our wishes be known to God, as Paul taught. Let your wishes be known to God, and the peace that passes all understanding will guard your heart and your mind. Pray with words, and then listen. Just listen. You can call it meditation. You can call it anything that you want to. But just sitting and listening to whatever God may want to say to you. It doesn't need to be on the floor in the lotus position chanting. It doesn't need to be that way. It can simply be, here's the thing that I learned, and I love this. I use it still today. Probably, I'm going to say 30 years ago, I took a course in it's called Centering Prayer, and it's a Catholic expression of meditation. And one of the things that we were taught, one of the practical things that we were taught is that once you, it has to do with choosing a word, and you don't tell your word to anyone, and you choose one word, and that word is your idea of an aspect of God. And so I chose my word and that sort of thing. And one of the things toward the end of the retreat, he said, once you really get in tune with this word, and this word, you only have to think this word, and instantly you feel the connection, because you're already connected. We just don't feel it sometimes. Instantly feel the connection after we have known this for a while, you know, studied it, not really studied, but practiced it for a while. You can practice this at a red light. Well, is that a cool thing? Rather than sitting there going, wonder when this light's going to change, you know, I'm already late and this sort of thing. Just quietly think your word. Don't close your eyes. Not a good idea when you're driving. But just quietly think your word as the light is red. And then whenever it turns green, move on. There's so many ways that we can allow ourselves to feel that conscious contact with God. Attend classes, listen to recordings, read inspiring material, hang out with people that have what you want When I first came to Unity, my very first Unity minister, I watched her for a while. I was in a very low place in my life, to say the least, and cynical about everything, critical of everything. It's like, anyway, that's a whole other story. But I watched her. First of all, I thought, you know, this cannot be real. This cannot be true. And then she invited me. We were both single, and so she invited me to do social things with her. And I would see that in times that she was pressed to the wall, she still, for the most part, knew how she was going to act and react. I don't know that I ever saw her lose her temper. She was my minister for 10 years, and we became very close. And I thought to myself pretty early on, I want what she's got. Choose somebody like that. It can be somebody that you know, that you're in contact with. It can be somebody that you watch their films on YouTube. It can be anybody. I love what Tony Robbins says. Success leaves clues. Success leaves clues in any area. And when we are moving in a direction of conscious evolution, conscious contact with the God of our understanding, when we are conscious and awake a lot of the time, we tap into what we are seeing in that other person. And here's the thing. Remember what I said? If you spot it, you got it. If you spot it in another person, you already have it. You may not be in close touch with it at that given moment, but you got it nevertheless. Identify the times that you're unconscious, and we all have them, that we blank out. It can be, you know, we may use some substance, we may use whatever. The times, notice the times that you're unconscious. Just not really paying attention to the here and now, the world around, the connection, our connection with Spirit as we know Spirit. Just notice those times. They'll come fewer and further between. And here's the last one. It's the big C word. Be open to change. Many times I'll speak for myself, there have been times in my life that I want something, I want this thing that I'm seeing, maybe in another person, but to get from where I am to that type of behavior takes steps, it takes conscious evolution, it takes paying attention, it takes many times releasing old ways of doing things. Change. I've found in my, isn't it really something it is to me that I'm in my 12th year here? Yay! But in talking to people over these 11 plus years, I'm noticing that to varying degrees, almost no one likes change. I don't know that I've ever heard anybody come into my office and say, wow, things are really changing in my life. I embrace change. It's wonderful. I just hope more of it comes. And nobody ever says that. It's like, this is changing in my life, and that's changing, and that already changed, and what am I going to do? I can't get my equilibrium. Just opening ourselves and be willing to change, make changes in our life. Well, as usual, I have way more notes than I have time. But I would like to leave you with a quotation from Charles Fillmore. What we are is a result of the evolution of our consciousness, and this consciousness is the result of seed ideas sown in the mind. seed ideas sown in the mind. If you take anything away from today, take away knowing that you are powerful beyond measure. You are powerful way beyond what you think you are. You can make conscious evolution, because we all do. Because you are the world.